Chapter 1, Miss Archer, are you sure you want to change your name? Once your name is changed, your academic qualifications, identification documents, and passport will all need to be updated. Clara Archer nodded. I'm sure. The staff member was still trying to persuade her. It's actually quite a hassle for an adult to change their name, and your original name is quite lovely. Why don't you reconsider? No need to reconsider. Clara signed the name change consent form. Thank you for your trouble. All right, the name you want to change to is Nova Archer, correct? Yes. Nova, flying to a distant place. This was her plan for her future. She wanted to leave this place completely. Clara asked, "Excuse me, can I go and change my passport name now?" Yes, this is your name change receipt. Take this to the window downstairs to change the name on your passport. Clara changed her passport name as quickly as possible. But she didn't change anything else: her diploma, her household registration. Anyway, she would be leaving with her new passport in a week. Let her old identity remain here forever. She no longer needed it. Walking out of the service hall with her new passport, she faced H City's landmark building. On the large screen of the building, an exclusive interview with Sebastian Preston, CEO of Shengshi Group, was playing. The host, Miss Davies, sharply noticed his subtle gesture and asked with a smile, "Mr. Preston, I've noticed you keep touching your ring, but it seems to be just a very plain silver ring. Is there something special about it?" Sebastian Preston smiled gently, raising his hand to show her. "This is my wedding ring." "Oh, my apologies. I assumed that with your current standing, your wedding ring would surely be a diamond, and a sizable one at that." Sebastian said, "I made my wedding ring myself, polished it bit by bit, and even engraved my and my wife's names on the inner band." "Wow, there really are two sets of letters, PSN and," Sebastian said, "AN. My wife's name is Clara Archer." "Wow, I really envy your wife. She must have saved the galaxy in her previous life to marry you, Mr. Preston." Sebastian simply said, "Actually, I must have saved the galaxy in my previous life to be able to marry her." Among the passers-by, almost all were voices of envy. Only the person at the center of it all, Clara Archer, she merely gave a sarcastic smile. She and Sebastian Preston had once been deeply in love. From school uniforms to wedding gowns, they had walked together for 15 years. In the eyes of classmates and teachers, they were the most loving couple. Until 2 months ago, she received a picture from a strange woman. The girl looked to be in her early 20s, but she was wearing seductive stockings and a nightgown. From her neck down to her chest, it was covered in bluish-purple marks. No need to guess. She had just experienced a fierce battle. She made a V sign at the camera, and on her index finger, she wore a silver ring, slightly too large, likely a man's. Engraved on the ring was a line of English letters, PSNAN. Later, she saw the girl in Sebastian's office. Her name was Jenna Lane, a fresh college graduate, 21 years old, Sebastian's newly hired personal assistant. At that moment, Clara's mind went a little blank. She really wanted to rush into Sebastian's office and ask, "Does personal assistant include sexual assistance?" But then, she gave up. In that photo, Jenna Lane's body, covered in marks, had already provided the answer. Amidst the surrounding gasps of amazement and envy, Clara left and went to a jewelry processing shop. When she took off the ring from her left ring finger, the pain was excruciating. "Miss, what kind of jewelry would you like to have processed?" "This ring, please melt it down for me." "This ring has an inscription on it. It must have special meaning. Are you sure you want to melt it?" "Yes, please do it as soon as possible." Half an hour later, Clara returned home with a beautifully packaged jewelry box. When Sebastian came back, it was already past 10 at night. He was holding a bouquet of flowers. "Sorry, Clara, I've been busy with work lately and haven't had time for you. I brought you your favorite freesias. Do you like them?" When he leaned in, Clara smelled a woman's perfume on him. Tilting her head, she saw a small bite mark on his Adam's apple. There was also a woman's lipstick mark on his shirt collar. Bright red, very obvious. Clara sneered inwardly. "Are you busy with work, or busy, cultivating things with Jenna Lane?" "Why aren't you saying anything?" Clara pushed him away. "I'm just a little tired." "Then I'll carry you to bed." Saying this, he bent down, preparing to carry Clara in his arms. Clara pushed him away again. "You're tired too. Take a shower and rest early." Sebastian reached out to take her hand, but suddenly noticed something. Clara, where's your wedding ring? Chapter 2, I took it off. But I made this myself, the proof of our love. Why did you take it off? Clara said perfunctorily, I've gained some weight recently, it doesn't fit anymore. Only then did Sebastian's expression soften slightly, and he smiled again. Then I'll take it to the jewelry store to get it resized another day. We'll see. By the way, what's that on the table? Sebastian pointed to the exquisite jewelry box on the table, somewhat surprised. Clara, is this a gift for me? Clara nodded. Yes. Inside it was a small silver ingot. She had melted their wedding ring and put it in there. Sebastian, however, was very happy. What day is it today? Clara proactively prepared a gift for me. Clara's heart sank even further. Today is our wedding anniversary. Sebastian's face instantly turned very ugly. He coaxed Clara, almost fawningly. I'm sorry, Clara, work has been really busy lately. How about we go out to eat tonight? I'll book a restaurant right now. No need, I've already eats. Then I'll take you out to see the night view, take a walk by the river. I'm tired, I want to sleep. Sebastian, as if trying to please her, wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. Come on, Clara, we haven't walked together in a long time. I feel like you've been a bit cold to me lately. If this goes on, I'll start to suspect my Clara has had a change of heart. Have I had a change of heart? It was clearly you who had someone else in your heart first. Your heart left me first. And this time, I will take back my heart forever, along with myself, completely. On the way out, Sebastian drove, smiling and telling her about recent happenings. Clara sat in the passenger seat, head turned towards the window, deaf to his words. Because just as she was fastening her seatbelt, she had found a woman's stocking in the crevice of the passenger seat. Clearly worn. Then she stuffed it back in, pretending nothing had happened. Since she had already decided to leave, she didn't want to argue with him anymore. Apart from hearing useless lies, she would get nothing. If she couldn't get it, she didn't want it anymore. When they reached the riverbank, Sebastian got out of the car first and helped her open the door. Clara, we're here. Clara didn't actually want to come, but this riverbank was a place they often visited when they first got together. Since it started here, let it end here. Wow, isn't that Mr. Preston from TV, today the one who made his own wedding ring. I remember what a perfect husband. He even shielded his wife's head from the car roof so she wouldn't bump it when getting out. Awa so considerate. Just as they were talking, Sebastian's phone rang. He said somewhat apologetically, Sorry, Clara, wait for me a moment. It's work stuff. I'll take this call and be right back. Go ahead. Wait for me right here, don't wander off. Naturally, there was another burst of exclamations from the surroundings. Mr. Preston treats his wife like a daughter, even afraid she'll get lost. He spoils her too much. Only Clara, her face impassive, stood by the river, gazing at the glittering surface of the water in the night. When Sebastian saw the caller ID just now, the smile at the corners of his lips couldn't be suppressed. Affectionate, sweet, with a hint of teasing. How could it be work? But she couldn't be bothered to expose him. It was a bit cold by the river, so she decided to go back to the car and wait. On the car's infotainment screen, Sebastian's social media account hadn't been logged out. It was synced with his phone. The chat history was scrolling message by message. The person on the other end was named Kitten. Sebastian, miss me? Kitten, the nights without you are a bit empty. Sebastian, naughty vixen, wasn't hurting you 7 times today enough. Kitten, not enough, darling, I want more. Sebastian, all right, when we get to work tomorrow in the office, I'll satisfy you. Kitten, heh, then I'll wear black stockings to work tomorrow. The subsequent conversation was even more obscene, filled with vulgarities and flirtation. Clara only felt a chill run through her entire body. She turned off the screen. She trembled all over, unsure if it was from the cold or anger, her nails digging deeply into her palms. Sebastian returned quickly, in about 15 minutes. Sitting back in the car, he clutched his chest and let out a deep sigh of relief. I turned around after finishing the call and didn't see you. You scared me to death. Thank goodness you're all right. Clara no longer wanted to look at his hypocritical face. She lowered her head, looking at her hands. It was cold outside, so I came back to the car. Good. Stay wherever you like. Clara suddenly looked up. Having read their chat history, this sentence took on another meaning for Clara. Stay wherever you like. That stocking in the crevice of the passenger seat. Could it be that they had done it in the passenger seat too? Clara suddenly felt nauseous, pushed open the car door and threw up. Chapter 3, Sebastian was frantic, rushing forward to check on her. "Clara, what's wrong?" Clara vomited until she was dizzy and disoriented, unable to recover for a long time. She didn't understand. Why would Sebastian, who loved her so much, cheat on her? Wasn't he afraid she would find out? Or did he think he was being discreet enough, completely capable of hiding it from her forever? The evening breeze blew, and Clara's mind cleared somewhat. Sebastian asked her, "Are you okay, Clara? If you're not feeling well, I'll take you to the hospital now." "No, I probably just ate something bad for dinner." "Then come find me at the company tomorrow, and we'll eat together." Clara gave a cold laugh. Go to the company to watch you and Jenna Lane tumbling around in the office? She suddenly had a mischievous thought. "All right, then I'll go to the company with you tomorrow morning, keep you company while you work, then we'll have lunch together, and in the evening we'll go home together." Sebastian hadn't expected her to agree at all. His expression became somewhat strained. "But I've been a bit busy with work lately. I might not be able to stay with you all the time." "You do your work. I'll just wait for you in your office." "All right then." Back home, Sebastian proactively offered to run a bath for Clara and went into the bathroom, but uncharacteristically closed the door. Clara, however, went downstairs and got back into the car. After starting the car, the latest chat history immediately appeared on the screen. "Sebastian, change of plans. We can't be in the office tomorrow." Kitten, a little disappointed. "Sebastian, don't be disappointed, Vixen. I'll take you to the rooftop. It'll be more exciting." Kitten, heh, darling, you're the best. When Clara returned to the bedroom, Sebastian was just coming out of the bathroom. "Clara, the bathwater is ready. You go take a soak." "No, I want to rest." "All right, sleep if you're tired." "By the way, that gift you put on the table, can I open it now?" Clara said, "Open it in a week." "Why wait a week? I want to see what gift my Clara prepared for me right now." Because in a week I will leave you forever. Because in a week this gift will have meaning." Sebastian gently kissed her forehead. "All right, I'll listen to you." The next morning, Sebastian's phone started ringing just after 6. He turned it off, then turned back to hug Clara. "Ignore it, let's sleep a little longer." But the phone rang again, persistently. Sebastian frowned in annoyance. "It's not even working hours yet, rushing me so early in the morning. Sooner or later, I'll fire this bunch of useless executives." He turned it off again. When the phone rang for the third time, Sebastian got out of bed, fuming. "Clara, you sleep a little longer. I'll go ask them what urgent matter they have." Clara murmured a soft mm. She turned over, her back to him. Sebastian took his phone and left the bedroom. However, very quickly, he appeared outside the front door on the ground floor. A delivery guy in a yellow uniform stood outside, handing him a package. Sebastian took it, but when he came back, his hands were empty. Clara asked him, "Is the company matter serious?" Sebastian said, "It's fine, Clara, don't worry, rest well. I'll go make you breakfast." Perhaps out of guilt or genuine concern that she had eaten something bad, Sebastian prepared a very lavish breakfast. Milk, eggs, bread, jam, and her favorite oatmeal. "You can't eat carelessly anymore. I'll find a housekeeper for you to come and cook for you every day." "No need. Be good, Clara, listen to me, or I won't be at ease when I go to work." "Sebastian, can I ask you a question?" "Go ahead." Clara put down her knife and fork and asked faintly, "The 7-year itch, do you think there's any truth to it?" Sebastian immediately showed an expression of utter disgust. "That's just an excuse for other men to cheat. I'm different. I will only love my Clara in this lifetime." "Only love me for a lifetime?" "Yes." "Then what if you fall in love with another woman?" "Then let me be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." Clara smiled sarcastically. "Such a heavy vow, aren't you afraid it will actually come true?" "I'm telling the truth, why should I be afraid?" Clara picked up her knife and fork again, spreading jam on her bread. Sebastian said, "Clara, you have to believe me." Clara just said, "Let's eat." "You still don't believe me. Do I have to cut my heart out for you to see before you believe me? There are people waiting for you at the company. Don't be late." Sebastian finally relaxed and sat down opposite her. "Let them wait a bit longer. A bunch of useless fellows, I'll fire them sooner or later." "Fire her, would you bear to?" Clara said her, not them. She didn't know if Sebastian caught it or not. She only heard him say, "Apart from you, there's nothing I wouldn't bear to part with." Chapter 4, after breakfast, they went to the company together. But Clara really couldn't stand the passenger seat, so she insisted on sitting in the back. "I get carsick. The back row is more comfortable, I can get some air. Sebastian didn't force her. All right then, I'll try to drive as steadily as possible. At the company entrance, Sebastian jogged over again to help her open the car door. When Clara got out of the car, she was once again watched by the employees during the morning rush hour. A few Shangxi Group executives even jogged over, fawning, "Mrs. Preston is here. Mr. Preston always mentions you love bubble tea. I'll go buy some for you right away." Another one said, "I'll buy the snacks. Mrs. Preston likes small cakes." Sebastian scolded with a laugh, "Don't you all feed her anymore. Clara's gained a little weight, her wedding ring doesn't even fit." "Mr. Preston, you're wrong about that. Mrs. Preston looks very slim. If the wedding ring doesn't fit, it must be the ring's fault, it shrank. Go, 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 if you're going to suck up, at least don't make it so obvious. How can silver shrink? You don't understand. Mr. Preston loves Mrs. Preston so much. As long as Mrs. Preston is happy, Mr. Preston will be happy, and then won't we all have a good time?" Sebastian smiled, good-naturedly saying, all right, you've all figured out my weak spot." Everyone burst into laughter. Clara was practically escorted into Sebastian's office. Fruits, snacks, bubble tea, everything imaginable was there. Sebastian even used his computer to find a TV show for Clara. "Clara, I have to get busy. You just relax here. If you need anything, just call for little Wang outside." Clara deliberately asked, "Where's your personal assistant, Jenna Lane?" "Why haven't I seen her today?" Sebastian said. "I don't know either. I'll have HR call her later and ask." Before leaving, Sebastian dotingly stroked her hair and whispered, "Wait for me to come back, we'll have lunch together." Sebastian left. The executives also left. Clara, however, noticed his phone on the desk. She hurriedly chased after them, only to overhear the conversation of those same executives. "Rooftop, Mr. Preston and Jenna Lane are getting more and more adventurous. What can you do? Who knew Mrs. Preston would suddenly come to the company today? They had to change locations. So, do we still need to send condoms to Mr. Preston today? No need. I saw Mr. Preston when he went up just now. He had several boxes in his pocket. Haha, Mr. Preston is really something. He can even buy condoms right under Mrs. Preston's nose. Delivery services are so convenient now, you can buy anything." Clara suddenly understood. So, those persistent calls in the morning were from the delivery guy. He had placed an order early in the morning, asking the delivery service to buy condoms for him. It seemed he was really looking forward to today's rooftop rendezvous, starting preparations so early. "I wonder if a few boxes will be enough. Last time, Mr. Preston and Jenna Lane were in the car for a whole day and night. The next day when Jenna Lane came to work, her walking posture was strange. If it's not enough, just send him more as subordinates. We have to serve the boss well, don't we? Didn't you just say you have to serve the boss's wife well? What does she know? A cup of bubble tea and a few small pastries can coax her. With Mr. Preston's status and position, who doesn't have a few women on the side? Anyway, with money and power, playing with women is normal, as long as you can hide it from the one at home." "True, she looks particularly naive. It shouldn't be hard to hide it from her." Just as they were talking, Sebastian appeared. "Don't talk nonsense in front of Clara, do you hear me?" The executives nodded repeatedly. "Understood, Mr. Preston, we know what to do." One of them asked, "Mr. Preston, why did you bring Mrs. Preston today? You and Jenna Lane have to hide on the rooftop, and we have to be careful when we speak." Sebastian shot him a glare. "Clara is the boss's wife of this company. She can come whenever she wants. Does she need your permission?" "Yes, yes, yes." Sebastian warned them again with a stern face, "Take good care of Clara. She had an upset stomach yesterday. Don't give her anything raw or cold. Also, if anyone dares to speak about my affair with Jenna Lane, pack your things and leave immediately, understand?" The executives nodded with fawning smiles. Clara didn't hear the rest. She had quickly returned to Sebastian's office and placed his phone among a pile of snacks. After a while, Sebastian came in. He still had that gentle, gentlemanly look. "Little greedy cat, what are you eating that smells so good?" The words "little greedy cat" sent a shiver down Clara's spine. She endured her discomfort and asked, "Weren't you in a meeting? Why are you back? I left my phone here, did you see it?" Clara shook her head. "No." Sebastian rummaged through the pile of snacks and found his phone. "Oh, it was mixed in with the snacks. You eat slowly, I'm off then." Ring, ring, ring. This time, it was Clara's phone. She answered it. Hello, is this Miss Nova Archer? Yes, it's me. Hello, Miss Archer. We have successfully issued your ticket for the flight to Norway in a week. You can board directly with your passport at that time. Do I need to bring any other identification besides my passport? No, your passport will be sufficient. Okay. After hanging up, Sebastian looked somewhat puzzled. Passport. Clara, what do you need a passport for? Chapter 5, Clara said, It's a friend of mine. She lost her passport and asked me how to replace it. Sebastian quickened his pace and hugged her tightly. You scared me to death. I thought you were going abroad without me. Clara turned her head and threw up again. He had a strong, cloying, Swedish smell on him, mixed with a woman's perfume. Sebastian patted her back with concern. What did they give you to eat again? I clearly told them you have a sensitive stomach these 2 days, and they must take good care of you. You wait, I'll go fire them all. This time, Clara used all her strength to push him away. Fire whoever you want, but can you stop doing it under the pretext of doing it for me? Sebastian was somewhat taken aback by her sudden outburst. Clara, are you angry with me? Because I was busy with work all day and didn't accompany you. He said, How about this? Tomorrow I'll postpone all my work and only spend time with you, okay? Clara laughed, a laugh filled with anger. Only spend time with me? Yes, only with you. Clara took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. I hope you mean what you say. That night, for some reason, it suddenly started to rain heavily. From the moment Clara returned home, she kept vomiting. Sebastian wanted to get close to her, but Clara vehemently rejected him. Don't come near me. The smell on you makes me want to vomit even more. Sebastian sniffed his sleeve and said, Maybe you don't like the scent of my cologne. I'll change it next time. Sebastian Preston, you should know in your heart that it's not about the cologne at all. All right, don't be angry. Then I won't wear any perfume from now on, okay? Clara washed her face with cold water, looked up, and stared at her reflection in the mirror. And outside the bathroom, Sebastian was anxiously waiting, holding a cup of hot water. She just didn't understand why, even now, when he was covered in the Swedish smell of intimacy and Jenna Lane's perfume, he could still act so righteously in love with her. She didn't understand why Sebastian seemed to care about her, yet still unscrupulously betrayed their relationship. Was it true, as the executive had said? It's nothing for men to play around with women outside, as long as they can hide it from the woman at home. He had misjudged her. She wasn't that naive and easy to deceive, nor was she willing to abandon her bottom line to that extent. Since it was no longer wholehearted love, she didn't want any of it. The next morning, Sebastian took her to the hospital. After a series of tests, Dr. Evans gave his conclusion. It should be stress-induced gastroenteritis. Sebastian asked, What is stress-induced gastroenteritis? It means the patient has recently experienced significant emotional stimulation, which has had a major impact on her, leading to abnormal gastrointestinal function and thus the vomiting. Sebastian asked Clara, Clara, have you encountered anything unhappy recently? Tell me, maybe I can help you solve it. Clara turned her face away, avoiding his closeness. You can't solve it. Tell me first. There are very few things in this world that I can't solve. Yes, this matter really could only be solved by him. For a moment, Clara actually wanted to ask him, if she and Jenna Lane fell into the water at the same time, who would he save first? But on second thought, one should not entrust one's fate to another person. Relying on mountains, they will fall. Relying on people, they will run. She knew how to swim, she could save herself. She no longer needed Sebastian Preston. In Norway, she had applied to an art school under the name Nova Archer. Back then, to marry Sebastian, she had given up her dream of continuing to paint. From now on, she would live for herself. Clara, let me take you to a movie this afternoon, okay? There's a comedy out recently, you'll be happy watching it. Afternoon, don't you have to work? Didn't we agree? I'll spend the whole day with you today. I keep my word, I absolutely won't go back on a promise. The next second, his phone rang. He originally wanted to turn it off, but after staring at the caller ID on the screen for a second, he hesitated. Clara watched his expression change from initial annoyance to subsequent difficulty. She smiled. Answer it. Company matters are important, Sebastian said. I'll be quick, just give me 5 minutes. Sebastian was about to go out with his phone when Clara stopped him. Just answer it here. I don't understand your company's affairs anyway. No need to worry about me leaking secrets. Sebastian paused awkwardly. After hesitating for 2 seconds, he answered, his brows furrowed with anger. Didn't I tell you not to call me today? What is it? Someone on the other end said something, but Clara vaguely heard a woman crying. In front of her, Sebastian spoke somewhat cautiously. All right, I understand. Wait a moment. After hanging up, Sebastian said apologetically to Clara, Clara, there's a very important document at the company that needs my signature. The manager has already brought it to the hospital. He's just downstairs. I'll sign it and come right back up, half an hour at most. Clara nodded. Sebastian practically ran, quickly leaving the consultation room. Dr. Evans smiled and said, Mrs. Preston, Mr. Preston really loves you. He even put aside his work for you. Is that so? Clara twitched her lips. Excuse me, doctor, I need to use the restroom. All right. Exiting the consultation room, Clara happened to see Sebastian, unable to wait for the elevator, running down the stairs. He indeed went downstairs, but to the floor below it was the obstetrics and gynecology department. Buzz, her phone vibrated. Jenna Lane, Miss Archer, I'm so sorry. He might not be able to accompany you today with just one call from me. He'll rush to my side. Chapter 6, Jenna Lane's messages kept pouring in. Jenna Lane, by the way, look at this. Image, this is my ultrasound report. I'm pregnant. Clara enlarged the image and finally saw clearly the first line on the report. Embryo 8 weeks, threatened miscarriage. Jenna Lane, yesterday we did it countless times on the rooftop, tried all sorts of positions. Maybe it was too rough. The baby has signs of a threatened miscarriage. Oh dear, it's all his fault. He said being with you at home was like being with a dead fish. No fun at all, but with me, he wants to play something exciting. Jenna Lane, the doctor said that whether it's to protect the pregnancy or have an abortion, the baby's father needs to sign. I could only call him down. After all, compared to gastroenteritis, his child is a bit more important, don't you think? Clara took a taxi from the hospital by herself. She went to a law firm. Hello, I'd like to retain your firm to help me draft a divorce agreement. She asked for nothing, and the lawyer, Mr. Alastair Finch, was very reliable. In half an hour, she had the complete divorce agreement. Mr. Finch told her, the husband's signature is not required. As long as you are separated for 2 full years, this divorce agreement will automatically take effect. When Clara came out with the divorce agreement, Sebastian happened to call. Clara, where are you? I've searched the entire hospital and can't find you, Clara said. I waited for you for a long time, but you didn't come, so I went home first. Good, as long as you're home safe. I'm sorry, Clara. There really is something at the company that requires me to go personally. I might have to go on a business trip for a few days. Take good care of yourself at home alone. Next week I'll definitely clear all my work to be with you. Clara sighed deeply. A lie told 1,000 times, no one will believe it anymore. She no longer felt any emotional fluctuations. You go ahead. My Clara is the most understanding. Be good, hubby will bring you freesias when he comes back tomorrow. Understanding? Clara asked. Sebastian Preston, do you just like women who act coy and clingy, who pester you endlessly? I'm too understanding, so I'm boring, is that it? Sebastian froze for a moment. How could that be? Of course, I like you the most. Whatever you're like, that's what I like. Sebastian Preston, will you fall in love with another woman? Of course not. If you have a change of heart, I will leave you forever. Sebastian chuckled. You can run all you want. I can lock down the airports and train stations. As long as you're still called Clara Archer, I will never allow you to leave me. But, on my passport, I'm no longer called Clara Archer. My name is Nova Archer. Clara emphasized again, I'm serious. If I have a way to leave you, I have a way to make sure you can't find me. Sebastian still smiled, as if teasing a cat. All right, then you run first. I'll give you 3 days, then I'll come find you. I told you, as long as you're still called Clara Archer, no matter where you run, I can find you. You can't shake me off. Can't shake him off? Clara smiled. Then let's just wait and see. Chapter 7, 3 days left, until the plane took off. Jenna Lane sent a photo of Sebastian Preston barbecuing by the sea. Jenna Lane, to celebrate my pregnancy with his child, he's treating me to a vacation in the Maldives. He said it's hard for me being pregnant, so I should just lie down and wait to be fed. Clara didn't reply. She just met up with a few close friends for one last gathering. After all, they might not be able to see each other again. Clara had a lot of fun at this gathering. 2 days left until the plane took off. Jenna Lane sent another photo of Sebastian reading a book, but the book was titled Early Childhood Education Guide for Babies. Jenna Lane, the new dad, is very concerned about the baby's education. It's still a little bean in my belly, and Daddy already talks to it through my tummy every day. Clara still didn't reply. She went to the bank, converted all her money into euros in cash, and then canceled all her bank cards. 1 day left until the plane took off. This time, Jenna Lane sent a video. In the video, there was a beautiful and romantic fireworks display over the sea. Jenna Lane cried emotionally, and Sebastian Preston gently hugged her, comforting, "Why are you crying? There will be more surprises in the future." Jenna Lane, he booked the entire island for me, bought out all the fireworks in the Maldives just to celebrate my birthday. So today was Jenna Lane's birthday. Birthday plus pregnancy. For the two of them, it should be considered a double blessing. After watching, Clara just smiled faintly, then called a local charity organization. "Hello, I have a batch of clothes I'd like to donate to impoverished mountainous areas." Soon, representatives from the local charity organization drove over. During the days Sebastian was away, she had already packed everything up. A total of 5 large bags of clothes and shoes. She donated them all, leaving nothing behind. Her ID card, household registration book, degree certificate, etc., all these things belonging to Clara Archer, as well as all her daily necessities in the house, she took directly to the funeral home, gave the staff some money, and asked them to burn everything. Standing in this home she had lived in for 5 years again, Clara herself felt a little unfamiliar. This home had been cleaned out by her, completely devoid of any trace of her. She only had a backpack. Inside, it only contained her passport. If there were any old belongings, it would be the phone in her hand. She used her phone to call a taxi to the airport. The driver stopped at the terminal entrance. Just as she was about to use her phone to pay the fare, she received a call from Sebastian. "Clara, I'm back from my business trip. I'm coming home to pick you up now. Let's go out for dinner." He was back, with Jenna Lane by his side. Clara, sitting in the taxi, happened to witness the two of them walking out of the terminal. Sebastian was pushing a luggage cart with 2 suitcases, one blue and one pink, clearly a couple set. And Jenna Lane was holding his arm, leaning against his shoulder like a dependent bird. Was the business trip tiring? It's okay, not too tiring. By the way, I remember you said I could open the gift you gave me today, right? Right. I'm so excited. You made me wait a whole week. I've been guessing every day what you'd give me. Our wedding anniversary, it must be something very meaningful, right? Very meaningful. You'll know when you see it. Okay, then wait for me. I'll be home in about 2 hours. 2 hours, that was enough. By then, her plane should have already crossed the border. Okay. See you in a bit then. Love you, Clara. After hanging up, she saw Jenna Lane pout into satisfaction, and Sebastian lowered his head and kissed her on the lips, seemingly to appease her. The taxi driver reminded her, "Miss, you haven't paid the fare yet." Clara withdrew her gaze, scanned the driver's payment QR code, and directly transferred all the money from her messaging app account to him. The driver saw it and was somewhat alarmed. "Miss, you entered the wrong amount. It's $25, not $2,500. I'll refund it to you." "No need." Clara pushed open the car door and got out. "I won't need it anymore. Thank you for bringing me here." "You're welcome. This is my job. You also paid the fare, so I would definitely bring you." "That's different. You brought me to the path of my future rebirth." After getting out of the car, Clara directly turned off her phone, took out the SIM card, and casually threw it into a trash can. Then she gave the phone to a little boy. The little boy was very happy. "Thank you, big sister," Clara smiled and patted his hair. "You're welcome." The child's mother felt embarrassed. "This is too valuable, we can't accept it." Clara asked, "Are you going abroad?" "Yes, we're going to Africa to find his father." Clara smiled and said, "Then take it. You might need it when you get to Africa." "All right then, thank you." Clara waved goodbye to them. "Have a pleasant journey." The airport broadcast was announcing, "Passenger Nova Archer, please proceed to gate H23 for boarding as soon as you hear this announcement. Your flight is about to depart." Clara clutched her passport, took one last look back, and then resolutely walked towards the boarding gate. Chapter 8, after Sebastian Preston hung up the phone, he didn't feel the slightest bit amiss. Jenna Lane, however, was consistently unhappy. The days when you belong only to me are ending so soon. I'll have to hide and sneak around again. Hearing this, Sebastian warned her, don't let Clara suspect anything, otherwise you know the consequences. Jenna Lane looked on the verge of tears. All right, I know. You've said it 800 times. Seeing she was about to cry, Sebastian lowered his head to coax her a little. It's best not to cry when you're pregnant, it's not good for the baby. You were harsh with me, then I'll make it up to you. I'll buy you a bag. Which one do you fancy? Jenna Lane looked up. Let's go back to the company. Before you go home, let's do it one more time. Sebastian was somewhat disapproving. I already told Clara I'd be home in 2 hours. There's no time. Just say there was traffic. The airport expressway is often congested anyway. Sebastian looked at his watch, still hesitant. Jenna Lane directly wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed his lips. Sebastian initially pushed her away slightly, but soon the push turned into an embrace, and then he took the lead, kissing her deeply. After a passionate kiss, Sebastian's desire was ignited. He chuckled hoarsely, "Vixen." Jenna Lane brightened up. Come on, let's go back to the company. Let it be our last crazy time." In response, Sebastian scooped her up and strode quickly towards the parking garage. Jenna Lane giggled in his arms. Luggage the luggage. Sebastian was impatient. Forget it. The two fooled around in the car once, then returned to the company and went wild for another 2 hours. By the time they finished, Sebastian finally remembered to call Clara. "Hello, the number you have dialed is switched off." Sebastian felt something was wrong. Clara never switched off her phone. Jenna Lane happened to bring him a cup of coffee, unceremoniously sitting directly on his lap. "What's your hurry?" Her phone probably just ran out of battery. Saying this, she deliberately nuzzled against him coquettishly. "I made this coffee for you myself. Shall I feed it to you?" Life was clearly the same as before, yet Sebastian always felt something was amiss. First, he inexplicably felt something was missing, then even the temperature of the coffee seemed off. He frowned. "Forget it, bring me a cup of hot tea instead." Jenna Lane purred, sidling up to him. "Mr. Preston, are you looking for a change of taste again?" The word "again" made Sebastian very uncomfortable. He lowered his voice. "Stop fooling around. I'm not in the mood right now." "You're just making a mountain out of a molehill. What could happen to her alone at home?" This time, Sebastian was somewhat annoyed. "Go change it. Don't make me say it a third time." Jenna Lane didn't dare to make a sound this time and immediately did as she was told. Her role was to be a gentle and understanding companion. Of course, she wouldn't go against him. When his assistant, David Carter, came to deliver the schedule, he also didn't dare to breathe too loudly. "Mr. Preston, you have a meeting this afternoon. It's almost time." Sebastian had originally planned to go home to see Clara first, take her out for a meal, and then rush back to the company for work. There was plenty of time for that, but now all that time had been spent fooling around with Jenna Lane. Seeing that the meeting was about to start, he had no time to go home. How long until the afternoon meeting? Sebastian glanced at his work schedule, asking without looking up. David Carter mentally calculated the time and reported, "About an hour." Sebastian stood up and said, "I need to go home for a bit. If the meeting has already started when I get back to the company, don't wait for me. Just let them proceed as usual." He didn't explain why, simply picked up his car keys and walked out without even intending to call his driver. This gave Jenna Lane a sense of crisis. Jenna Lane quickly walked to the office door, blocking his path, and took his hand, acting coquettishly. "Aren't I by your side? Why do you still need to find another woman?" Sebastian was in a bad mood and naturally had no patience to coax her. He flung her hand away and said, "Don't ever say things like that again." Jenna Lane pouted. "No, I just don't want to share you with another woman." As soon as these words were spoken, the most apprehensive person in the room became David Carter. His eyes darted around. If the floor-to-ceiling windows couldn't be opened, and this was the 40-somethingth floor, he really wanted to just jump. Sebastian turned to look at Jenna Lane, his expression becoming solemn and serious, his voice tinged with a warning. "From the very beginning, I told you to understand your position. Clara is my wife. She will always be Mrs. Preston. Chapter 9, Jenna Lane fell silent, disgruntled. The title of Mrs. Preston and Sebastian's money would be hers sooner or later. Haste makes waste. She would tolerate it for now. Sebastian hadn't been home during the day for a while. Standing in the familiar villa, he experienced a rare sense of unfamiliarity and novelty. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Perhaps this was the reason. "Clara, I'm back." He called her name, walking briskly through the courtyard and into the living room. The flowers and plants in the courtyard were neatly trimmed, and the furnishings inside remained unchanged, spotless everywhere, showcasing the owner's taste and style. This was all Clara's doing. Sebastian wanted to hug her and say, "You've worked hard, dear," but looking around, he couldn't find her at all. So he found the part-time cleaner who was working and asked, "Where's Mrs. Preston? Did she go out?" Usually, at this time, Clara should have been at home. The maids looked at each other, none of them able to say where she was. "We don't know. We haven't seen her since this morning." Sebastian was somewhat displeased. "You don't even know if she had breakfast." No one answered his question. Everyone was thinking to themselves, shouldn't you, her husband, be the one who knows her whereabouts best? What's the point of asking us? Sebastian sensed the subtle atmosphere. He lowered his hand and found a way to save face. "Forget it. It's useless asking you all. I'll go find her myself." He thought Clara was sleeping in late on a leisurely morning, just like when they were students, and tiptoed upstairs. But the bedroom was also empty. The windows and curtains were open, sunlight flooding the entire room, making everything inside seem warm and cozy. But this warm environment was missing the very person who should have been there. Clara was gone. Sebastian subconsciously walked over for a look and then saw a letter pressed under a box on the dressing table. On it were the last two sentences Clara had left for him. "I know everything about you and Jenna Lane. I'm gone, don't look for me." She didn't even sign off, just ended their many years of relationship so lightly. He didn't know that she had long been speechless with him. Sebastian almost immediately called her, but Clara didn't answer. Sebastian clenched the letter with her handwriting, so tightly that the edges crumpled, yet he was completely unaware. He persistently continued to call her, repeatedly pressing the dial button while refusing to miss any corner of the house in his search. But whether it was her favorite flower garden in the backyard or the rooftop terrace with the swing for stargazing, she was nowhere to be found. She had truly left home. "Sorry, the user you are calling is currently switched off." After hearing this sentence for an unknowable number of times, he faced reality. Clara would not answer his calls. There must be another way. Calm down, Sebastian vigorously rubbed his face a few times. When his consciousness finally returned, he opened his contact list and started looking for the phone numbers of their mutual friends. They had known each other for many years and were once a model couple who went from school uniforms to wedding vows. They were quite familiar with each other's lives and social circles. Sebastian first called Clara's best friend. The friend didn't answer at first, only reluctantly picking up on the third call. After learning his intention, she replied with a cold laugh, "Your husband and wife. If you can't find her, how could I possibly know?" The call was directly hung up. Sebastian couldn't be bothered with her bad attitude. He immediately started calling other people. But the results were all the same, and they all had some unspoken criticisms of him, only holding back due to politeness. Their mode of interaction in recent years had been visibly off. Sebastian, unwilling to give up, pressed an old classmate on the phone. Hasn't she contacted anyone at all during this time? If she really wanted to leave, she should have discussed it with someone, right? The old classmate sounded like he had heard a joke. "You're Clara's husband. If you can't find any clues, what's the use of her contacting us? You should carefully recall if you've had any recent arguments." Sebastian fell into silence. He and Clara hadn't sat down for a proper conversation in a long time. If they still had arguments, perhaps she wouldn't have resorted to running away from home. He hung up on this last contact, and an uncontrollable panic began to rise in his heart. The furnishings in the bedroom were the same as elsewhere, but Clara's things were all gone. Chapter 10, the more Sebastian Preston thought, the more panicked he became. He was afraid she had acted impulsively and would find things missing while staying in a hotel, even more afraid she would have financial difficulties while traveling to clear her head. So he simply sat down next to the swing and logged into his bank account to start transferring money to her. He didn't even see clearly how much money he transferred, only knowing he pressed several zeros. He was genuinely afraid she would encounter difficulties outside, completely unaware that she never needed him to support her. A bank employee called him shortly after. "Mr. Preston, all your recent transfer operations have failed." Sebastian was on the verge of a breakdown, devoid of his usual composure. He asked directly, "Is there a problem with the transfer limit or frequency? I can prove these are my own operations. If you need a verification code and signature, I can provide them immediately. I want to transfer money to my wife." He couldn't remember the last time he had personally transferred money to Clara. It seemed that for a long time, wealth and his rising status had made him neglect many trivial matters. The wedding anniversary arrangements were done by an event planning company. Gifts were bought by his assistant, and even the household expenses for their shared life were automatically deducted. These individual matters were all small, but together they were enough to be the last straw that broke the camel's back. Sebastian belatedly realized that he had unintentionally grown so distant from her. He was filled with extreme regret, and his desire to compensate her grew even stronger. But the bank employee told him, "Mr. Preston, there's no problem on your end, but the account you're transferring to no longer exists." "Why? That bank card was canceled yesterday." "Yesterday?" Sebastian heard himself ask the question, then hung up the phone amidst the employee's affirmative reply. Exhausted, he raised his hand to cover his face and let out a choked sob. If only he had called Clara in the past few days, he would have noticed something was wrong with her. But he hadn't. Now it was all too late. An hour passed quickly, but Sebastian had no heart for work, only frantically trying to find clues from the social media apps Clara had used. Perhaps she would reveal some of her thoughts on a network where no one knew her. Sebastian wasn't in the habit of using social media, but he remembered Clara's account name. No matter which platform she used, she would call herself Serene Dreamer. He first opened the most commonly used messaging app, then found that their chat history had long stopped on a certain day in the past. As for her account, it had already been deactivated. Her previous profile picture was replaced by a gray system avatar. Sebastian felt as if he had been punched in the chest. He then searched for content related to Serene Dreamer on other social media platforms. The results were either "user does not exist" or an account clearly registered by someone else. He scrolled and searched tirelessly for a long time, only finding traces of others forwarding her messages. As for the ID Serene Dreamer, it had vanished without a trace. Unwilling to give up, Sebastian called the platform's customer service. He provided Clara's personal information and requested, "I've read your platform's rules. A deactivated user can withdraw the application within 7 days. I want to restore her data now." The customer service representative did not agree. "Sir, the withdrawal application must be made by the person herself." Sebastian unreasonably stated, "I am her husband. Can't I withdraw it on her behalf?" "I'm very sorry, sir." "Fine, I will file a complaint against you." "Wait for a court summons, don't think I don't know. You have this information in your backend. Restoring account information is not difficult at all. Please, feel free." The customer service representative replied politely and calmly. They had seen many strange people and wouldn't take threats to heart. Legal procedures would have to be followed eventually anyway. Seeing that the customer service was unyielding, Sebastian instantly deflated. He hung up the phone, then used his connections to contact the person in charge of the platform, softening his tone to request their help. "I know you have regulations, but my wife has run away from home. She didn't take anything with her before she left. Even her social media accounts and bank cards were canceled. If you can't help restore the data, I really won't have any clues at all. I'm begging you." Chapter 11, he rarely humbled himself, but now, for Clara's sake, he had to bow his head. Fortunately, after the other party confirmed that his wife was indeed missing, they chose to relent. Sebastian got Clara's social media account as he wished. Her profile picture was one of her own paintings, giving off the same impression as her, and her account nickname an indescribable sense of dignified serenity. Clara wasn't usually a talkative person, but she had unexpectedly documented her life online for many years. She was one of the first new users of this social networking site. The earliest mood entry was sent shortly after they started dating. "We're together," the emoticon's popular back, then seemed outdated now, but Sebastian still smiled knowingly. Even after so many years, he could still feel the sweet joy Clara felt when she was in love with him. She once loved sharing her life on this account. Paintings she practiced in her leisure time, gifts he gave her when they were dating, the bridal bouquet from their wedding, and the meticulously trimmed flower garden after marriage. Sebastian looked at them one by one, his heart softening as if a piece had caved in. But just as he was greedily reminiscing about the past, she stopped posting photos and sharing her life. The last content related to it was a picture of the starry sky taken from the rooftop swing, dated half a year ago. Did something happen back then? He tried hard to recall, and then it hit him it was shortly after he had gotten involved with Jenna Lane. He thought he had hidden it very well, but unexpectedly, clues were still discovered. An unprecedented wave of regret swept over Sebastian. He mustered the courage to click on the last text entry Clara had posted. It was sent late last night, and the content was extremely brief. "This is the end." Clara left no hints in the record, but he knew those words were definitely meant for him. As she put a period at the end of that sentence, she also completely severed their many years of relationship. Sebastian spent the day in a daze. After nightfall, the once warm home turned into a cold building. He lay alone in bed, enveloped by a huge sense of emptiness. This feeling was truly awful. His phone lit up several times by the pillow. It was Jenna Lane messaging him again, asking him out. But he didn't look at it even once. Sebastian lay awake until midnight, then, unable to sleep, he turned on the bedside lamp and got up. He moved to the side of the bed where Clara used to lie, trying to feel her lingering warmth. At least last night, she should have been lying here, right? He thought to himself, trying to recall the last time they shared a bed. But his heart felt colder than his body. The silk bedding was smooth to the touch, but it warmed up much slower than cotton. Many years ago, when he and Clara had just graduated and didn't have the money to pursue such luxurious comforts, they would hug each other for warmth before sleeping every night. Sebastian suddenly missed her terribly, his heart aching intensely, as if it were being tightly squeezed. Until the alarm clock at midnight sharp jolted him from his thoughts. Sebastian could no longer stay in bed. He suddenly remembered that Clara had left something for him, that beautiful jewelry box. He quickly walked to the dressing table and picked it up. The box was small, fitting in the palm of his hand. But when he opened it, the contents weren't some exquisite piece of jewelry, but a small, oddly shaped lump of silver. Sebastian didn't understand at first. Why would Clara give him this? He habitually caressed the wedding ring on his left ring finger, the silver ring he had polished himself. Suddenly, he was struck as if by lightning this small silver lump. It was her wedding ring. She had melted her wedding ring grief beyond death. He finally accepted the reality Clara hadn't just run away or thrown a tantrum. She wasn't coming back. Sebastian had no mood to celebrate his birthday. He drove to the police station overnight, panting, I want to report a case. My wife is missing. It's very likely she committed suicide. Clara was an adult, free to come and go, not restricted by anyone. If he wanted to report her missing, he needed a plausible reason, otherwise, it would just be rejected. The police accepted his report and accompanied him in his search until dawn, but they found nothing. A policewoman asked Sebastian, "Have you and your wife had any conflicts recently?" Sebastian stammered, "No, our relationship has always been very good." The policewoman was experienced and immediately saw he was hiding something. She reminded him, "If you genuinely want to find your wife, please tell us the situation truthfully, otherwise we can't help you." I found a mistress outside, and it seems she found out." Sebastian's face burned. Chapter 12, this should have been proof of his charm. But at this moment, he belatedly realized how shameful it was, especially since Clara had left him for such a reason. The policewoman bluntly asked, "So your wife left home because you cheated on her?" Sebastian didn't say anything, just nodded with a strange expression. Fortunately, an unknown call came in time to rescue him. He answered it, hoping it was Clara willing to contact him. The caller was a man who claimed to be a lawyer from a firm. "May I speak to Mr. Sebastian Preston? I am the lawyer commissioned by Miss Clara Archer. I have something I'd like to discuss with you in person. I wonder if you're available now." "Available? I'll be right there." Sebastian didn't bother explaining to the police. He lied about having other business and drove over as fast as he could. Sebastian only wanted to see the lawyer as soon as possible and then persuade Clara to come back. For this, he ran countless red lights on the way and endured countless insults from passers-by, but he didn't care at all. Until the lawyer, Mr. Alastair Finch, handed him a divorce agreement. Sebastian didn't even notice it. He looked around the law firm's office and anxiously asked, "Where's Clara? Is she still unwilling to see me? I have something to say to her, let her come out." "I'm sorry, I can't do that because Miss Archer isn't here at all. She has fully entrusted the divorce proceedings to my law firm. If you have any objections, Mr. Preston, just tell me." Mr. Finch raised the hand holding the divorce agreement slightly, and only then did Sebastian notice its existence. Sebastian's face instantly turned very ugly. He took it, glanced at it once, and immediately tore the agreement to shreds, then forcefully scattered them all over the floor, saying through gritted teeth, "I will never divorce her," his eyes red, he emphasized. "I made a mistake, but which man in the world doesn't make mistakes? I already know I was wrong. As long as she doesn't like it, I will absolutely not see the people she dislikes again. That should be acceptable, right? Clara loved him so much. As long as they could meet again, she would definitely be moved by him." Mr. Finch smiled slightly and reminded him, "Mr. Preston, since you already know you are the party at fault, you should also be very clear that divorce is not only achieved through agreement, there is also divorce by judgment. Miss Archer said that if you don't agree, she will entrust me to sue. She doesn't even plan to tell me this in person." Sebastian looked at the lawyer in disbelief, trying to find a flaw in his expression that would indicate he was lying. Mr. Finch smiled politely. "Miss Archer said she doesn't want to see you. Everything that needed to be said was left in the letter." Sebastian let out a choked laugh. "Is that even a letter? She just left me 2 sentences. Anyway, I won't sign it. The divorce agreement is torn. I want to see her in person." His heart ached uncontrollably, as if something very important had been brutally ripped from his chest. Mr. Finch had anticipated such a reaction. He waited for Sebastian to calm down a little, then opened his folder, took out a new divorce agreement, and handed it over, saying, "Miss Archer instructed that she said the first divorce agreement would definitely be torn up by you, so she prepared 2 copies. Sebastian was furious, snatching it and about to tear it again. "Mr. Finch reminded him with a slight smile, "Mr. Preston, if you wish, you can tear up as many copies as you like. The original was personally reviewed by Miss Archer. There are as many as you want. When you're tired of tearing, I can print more. Anyway, the costs can be reimbursed." Sebastian instantly lost all his strength. His attitude changed faster than flipping a book. He pleaded, "I'm sorry, my attitude was bad earlier. Can you tell me where Clara is?" The lawyer's attitude remained unchanged. "I'm sorry, Mr. Preston, I don't know that." The implication was that she didn't want to see him, not even for a final time. Sebastian's attitude became even better. He discussed with the lawyer in a gentle tone, "How about this? As long as you tell me Clara's whereabouts, I'm willing to exchange one. No, 50 million USD for it. Mr. Preston, I cannot disclose information that my client does not wish to disclose. It's just one case. 50 million is enough for you to open another firm or even retire outright, no longer needing partners. This is a very good deal." Sebastian tried to tempt him into talking, but Mr. Finch was completely unmoved. "Mr. Preston, of course, I'd love to get rich overnight, but I hope to earn that money through my firm. Besides, I genuinely don't know Miss Archer's whereabouts. After she completed her commission, she only contacted me by phone." Sebastian clung to the last sliver of hope. "Give me the phone number she's using now. I'll pay for it just the same. She was using her previous number. I called her today, but no one answered." Mr. Finch's answer was watertight. The atmosphere in the room dropped to freezing point. Chapter 13, seeing that Mr. Finch was unyielding, Sebastian's face hardened, and he stated his position again. "Then we have nothing more to say. Anyway, no matter how many copies you print, I will never sign. As for suing in court, suit yourself." He didn't believe Clara wouldn't appear in court. Before that, he would do everything possible to beg for her forgiveness. They had so many years of affection and countless shared memories. Seeing each other would evoke some sentiment. As long as he insisted on not divorcing, he would eventually wait for the day she had a change of heart. Mr. Finch was prepared for this. He began to explain the law to Sebastian on the spot. Mr. Preston, actually, Miss Archer doesn't need to sue you at all. This is just a last resort. If possible, she still hopes to part amicably with you. For example, if you are separated for more than 2 years, you can go through legal procedures, and the court will grant a divorce on the grounds of irretrievable breakdown of the relationship. These were all things Clara had researched beforehand. After she made up her mind to end this relationship, she acted with great efficiency, considering all possible scenarios and devising countermeasures. Sebastian was stunned on the spot. Impossible, she wouldn't be so heartless to me, we were so in love. Would she negate me just because of one mistake? He selectively forgot his actions over the past 6 months, including his neglect of her. Mr. Finch didn't care what he thought, merely emphasizing the facts. Mr. Preston, it's no use asking me. The law is stipulated this way. If you think it's unreasonable, you can directly sue the law itself. Sebastian knew very well he couldn't win. He said stubbornly, then as long as I find Clara during this period and reconcile with her, it will be all right, right? This time, Mr. Finch smiled without speaking, choosing not to say anything. Divorce lawyers see countless infatuated men and resentful women. He had long seen that Miss Archer was determined to divorce. No matter how much this man in front of him struggled, it would be useless. Just as Sebastian was in a standoff with the lawyer, a call came from the police. Mr. Preston, we've located the last place Miss Archer's phone's signal disappeared based on the clues you provided. Would you be able to come over? I'll be right there. The matter of the divorce agreement was temporarily put aside. Sebastian had never heard of the location provided by the police. He quickly entered the address into his navigation map and drove over at top speed. As far as the eye could see, it was a wasteland without even abandoned buildings, surrounded by garbage. The police were searching for something on site. This scene deeply wounded Sebastian. Countless images from crime dramas flashed through his mind, almost causing him to faint on the spot from the shock. A passing police officer supported him. Mr. Preston, please calm down first. Sebastian barely managed to steady himself, his voice trembling. Where is she? Have you found her? He thought Clara had sought a tragic end, looking like he might pass out at any moment, and his intestines were twisted with regret. If he had known, he shouldn't have said she was in danger when he reported the case. She had merely left him. Sebastian's voice was hoarse. It's all my fault. She actually didn't disappear, she just didn't want to deal with me anymore. It was my fault. He was incoherent, looking extremely agitated. The police officer supporting him listened inexplicably to this tirade. Then, holding a bag, asked him, Mr. Preston, we didn't find Miss Archer's phone, but we found a SIM card. See if it's hers. Only then did Sebastian come to his senses. As if he had just escaped death, he asked, only her SIM card? What about the phone? The police officer shook his head. We've searched this entire area, but we haven't found it. Sebastian had experienced tremendous emotional ups and downs in a short period, and his condition was visibly abnormal. He took the bag, looked at it, and said, Can I open it and see? After receiving permission, he took Clara's SIM card out of the evidence bag. Sebastian inserted Clara's SIM card into his own phone and pressed the power button. He was very curious about Clara's state of mind when she discarded it, and also wanted to know if she still had even a shred of lingering affection for him. The phone screen remained black. It was clearly out of battery. The thread of sanity in Sebastian's mind almost snapped on the spot. Maintaining the last bit of reason, he asked the police for help. Could you lend me a charger? I'll just charge it in the car for a bit and return it to you right away. The police officer didn't press further, just asked around his colleagues and then borrowed a power bank from a kind policewoman, handing it to him. See if this works. This SIM card has been soaked in water for a while. The wasteland was overgrown with waist-high weeds, and even in autumn and winter, there was no shortage of dew dripping down. Sebastian refused to accept this possibility. While charging the phone, he prayed to all the gods and Buddhas in his heart. Perhaps because his prayer was sincere this time, the phone screen actually lit up after being charged. The first thing Sebastian noticed was the missed call notifications, almost all from him to her. Besides that, the only other things worth noting were countless unread messages. Sebastian gently tapped to open them and then froze on the spot. These messages were all from Jenna Lane to Clara. He had once thought the two of them had no private contact at all. Jenna Lane's wording in the messages was completely different from how she behaved in front of him. Chapter 14. Clara. You know Sebastian. He's sentimental, can't bring himself to be harsh. If you're willing, he can keep supporting you, but I still think it's better to clarify some things. There's no first come, first served in love. But if I had met him first, you two would probably be little more than old classmates now. A woman needs to know how to dress herself up. Otherwise, if you go around plain-faced every day, what man would want to come home? Youth, of course, is nothing remarkable, but it's better than being a middle-aged woman still trying to compete with young girls and having some self-awareness. Sebastian praised my beauty again today. Ta to this is the necklace Sebastian gave me. He designed it himself. Clara, you should be able to understand me, right? We are truly in love. As long as you agree, that house will be left to you as a breakup settlement because Sebastian will buy me a new one. Many similar messages were sent, each one short, and the wording wasn't particularly sophisticated. But calling her Clara repeatedly, always bringing up age and Sebastian, the green tea aroma was so strong it almost wafted through the screen. The policewoman who lent Sebastian the power bank happened to see a few messages and immediately sneered, her gaze towards him filled with more disdain. To allow an outside woman to send such messages to his own wife, even if he had no intention of divorcing, he was at least thinking of starting a small family outside. Perhaps only Sebastian himself thought that keeping Clara in the dark was the ultimate expression of his love for her. Sebastian frowned, feeling as if he had been plunged into an ice cellar. But these messages were just an appetizer. He scrolled up through the records and found that Jenna Lane had been sending pictures to Clara every few days. There were photos of gifts she had demanded from him, screenshots of him transferring amounts like 520, I love you, and 1314, forever to her, and even indecent photos of her leaning against him after he had fallen asleep. Looking at the scenes in the photos, Sebastian suddenly felt nauseous. He found himself utterly disgusting. The police officers nearby, at this point, could easily guess what had happened. Seeing his reaction now, their sympathy was very limited. Sebastian forced himself to return the power bank to the policewoman, his expression dejected as he pleaded, I want to go back and see. Please continue searching for traces of Clara. He no longer had the face to call Clara his wife in front of outsiders. On the way back, he called Jenna Lane, his voice colder than ever. Where are you? Come to my house. There are some things we need to clarify in person. Jenna Lane was overjoyed. When? Immediately. Sebastian hung up after speaking. He was exhausted to the extreme and had no energy left to resolve the issue elsewhere. As for the place he had arranged for him and Jenna Lane, he didn't even have the slightest thought of setting foot there. Now, just thinking about that place made him want to vomit, even though he hadn't had a sip of water since yesterday. Jenna Lane was much faster than him. When he drove home, she was already there and had seamlessly adapted to the role of a hostess, ordering the household staff around. Take down all those paintings, they're hideous. If you're going to hang something, buy some valuable famous paintings. Who wants her ugly things? Oh, and the carpet needs to be replaced too. I'll give you a brand later, get the most expensive custom-made one, otherwise my girlfriends will think I'm lying to them when they come over. Pull out all those flowers outside, I want the most expensive ones. She chattered excitedly, keeping everyone busy, while she herself flitted around like a butterfly, occasionally touching this, pinching that, plucking leaves from bonsai trees and casually tossing them aside. She didn't even restrain herself when she noticed Sebastian's presence. Jenna Lane ran to him with a beaming smile, pouting coquettishly, Why are you only back now? Have you decided where we're going to celebrate tonight? I think we should do it here. After all, I'll be the mistress of this house from now on. Oh, where's the chef? I want to order. In front of him, she had always been like this little girl, though a bit willful and vain, in his eyes it wasn't a bad thing. Sebastian had treated her as a temporary amusement, never having high hopes, so naturally, he wouldn't be disappointed by her shallowness. Anyway, what he enjoyed was her admiration and youth. Only at this moment did he realize how terribly wrong he had been. He looked at her with cold eyes and asked, What are you wearing? Jenna Lane was immersed in the beautiful fantasy of soon becoming Mrs. Preston. Hearing this, she didn't sense anything amiss. She even twirled, holding her skirt. "I found it in the dressing room. How is it? Doesn't it suit my figure?" I looked around, and this was the only suitable one. This nightgown was designed for comfort and skin friendliness. On Clara, it would evoke thoughts of a cozy dreamland. But when Jenna Lane deliberately wore it with an open collar, it immediately looked vulgar. Anger instantly flared in Sebastian's eyes. "That's a nightgown I bought for Clara. She hasn't even worn it yet." Chapter 15, Jenna Lane completely misunderstood his meaning, giggling as she threw herself into his arms. "Isn't this even more exciting? Sebastian, what are you doing?" Halfway through her sentence, Sebastian, who could bear it no longer, ripped the nightgown off her. Sebastian ignored the screams in his ears, only stopping when the dress was completely thrown onto the floor. He hadn't looked Jenna Lane in the eye again from beginning to end. The servants were just there to earn a salary. Why would they want to see such a scene? They all turned and fled, reaching the courtyard as quickly as possible. Jenna Lane was first aghast, but when she realized no one else was around, she immediately let out a knowing, coquettish laugh. "Oh dear, it's not like I don't understand what you mean. Why are you being so rough?" Saying this, she burrowed directly into Sebastian's embrace, making no attempt to hide her intentions. The two of them had come together for that business in bed. There was no real affection, so naturally, there was no need for shame. As long as she could please him, she could get loads of money. As for whether he saw her as a plaything or a lover, it didn't matter. Having the title of Mrs. Preston and the property was enough. Jenna Lane was still dreaming of marrying into wealth, but Sebastian's reaction was to push her away forcefully. "Truly shameless, you are not worthy to wear her clothes, nor are you worthy to touch her things." His eyes burned with furious anger, as if he was utterly disgusted by her, not even wanting to touch her. Jenna Lane had thought she had victory in her grasp this time, that she was a shoe-in for the future Mrs. Preston. After arriving, she had planned to whisper in his ear, urging him to go through the divorce procedures. For this, she had even carefully groomed herself, changing into a loose nightgown, wearing only underwear underneath. "How am I shameless? Haven't you always liked me this way?" Her face turned pale, but she retorted defiantly, simultaneously trying to pick up the nightgown, but her wrist was grabbed. Sebastian questioned her with icy eyes. "If you had even a shred of decency, you wouldn't have sent Clara those messages, much less secretly photographed us together. I warned you long ago not to flaunt yourself in front of her. Did you cause her to leave?" He blamed everything on Jenna Lane, as if this could negate the harm he had caused Clara. Jenna Lane realized things were exposed. Her first reaction was to play dumb. "What are you talking about? How could I send messages and photos to Clara? I try to avoid her at all costs. Did she find out something?" Anyway, there was no proof for such things. She didn't believe Clara would be willing to maintain this marriage after discovering Sebastian's affair. "You're still lying," Sebastian almost laughed out of anger. "I was blind before, mistaking a fish eye for a pearl, but you're just a plaything. How dare you dream of becoming the real deal? In my heart, you're not even worth a speck of dust under her feet." He vented all his anger from being unable to find Clara onto Jenna Lane. Yes, it must be because she sent messages to Clara that his beloved left. Even if he was at fault, it was only a secondary responsibility. It was the first time Jenna Lane had seen Sebastian look at her with such horrifying eyes. She became even more determined not to admit it, crossing her arms to partially cover her body. "She must have made up those messages herself and framed me." Saying this, she tried to go back upstairs to change into her original clothes, but Sebastian wouldn't let her go, pulling her back. Jenna Lane panicked. "Sebastian, what are you doing?" This time, Sebastian couldn't be bothered to waste words on her. He directly held up Clara's phone for her to see. The screen clearly displayed the explicit photos she had sent and the deliberately provocative messages. Jenna Lane hadn't expected Clara to show him the messages. She blurted out, "Shouldn't she have just asked you for a divorce directly?" As soon as these words were out, she immediately realized her slip of the tongue and tried to cover it up. I didn't mean to lie. I was just afraid you'd be angry. Please forgive me this once. If it weren't because I loved you so much, I wouldn't have taken the risk." "Huh?" Sebastian cut her off with a cold laugh. "Whether you love me too much or love the status of Mrs. Preston and the Preston family's money too much, you know best in your own heart." He regretted it immensely to have driven Clara away for such a woman. Jenna Lane, her true intentions exposed, was still unwilling to give up everything she had invested. She tugged at his sleeve, her eyes red as she pleaded, "Time reveals a person's heart. Don't you know if I'm sincere? I'm with you because of you. Do you think Clara truly loves you? If a woman is truly sincere with you, she'll be jealous for you. But her, she never replied to me. I was also doing it for your own good. If it wasn't to help you see her clearly, why would I risk sending photos? What if she sent them out?" "Shut up," Sebastian was completely done with this act. He interrupted her sharply. Chapter 16, You're not qualified to judge Clara. Besides, isn't getting them published what you've always dreamed of? You photographed me so clearly, yet you were very restrained and didn't get yourself in the shot. Don't think I don't know, you've long thought of using such methods to force my hand, haven't you? He was incredibly clear-headed now, but it was too late. Jenna Lane still wanted to argue, but he was thoroughly disgusted with her and truly didn't want to give her another chance. He directly picked up his phone and called the villa's security. "Remove the person who shouldn't be here." The villa's security personnel were on call 24 hours a day and arrived immediately upon receiving the order. Jenna Lane refused to go with them, still struggling fiercely. "Sebastian, you asked me to come. If you want me to leave now, I'll leave immediately, but you can't do this to me." Sebastian walked into the house with his back to her, tossing a sentence over his shoulder without looking back. "Don't let me see you again." Sebastian, Jenna Lane was thus dragged out of the villa gate. She watched helplessly as the ornate iron gate closed in front of her, as if seeing the life of a wealthy socialite drifting away from her. She began to shout loudly, her voice choked with tears. "Sebastian, even without me, she would have divorced you sooner or later. You really can't blame me for this." On this point, she and Sebastian had reached a subtle consensus. Neither was willing to take responsibility. Only when she heard the pointing and muttering of passers-by behind her did she realize, as if waking from a dream, what a state she was in. An older woman, Mrs. Gable, who lived nearby, spotted her. "What's wrong with this young girl? It's so cold, why did she run out naked? Young people these days play so wild, it's truly outrageous." Another neighbor chimed in. "Didn't you hear? She said it herself, she caused someone's divorce. It looks like she fought with the original wife and got kicked out. Tusk, the young girl looks decent enough. How could she do such a shameless thing? It's a good thing this is modern society, otherwise she'd be paraded through the streets like this." Another onlooker remarked, and others agreed, some using terms like trollop or broken shoe under their breath. Such a spectacle was truly rare. Passers-by discussed while taking out their phones to film, not caring if it would be blocked when uploaded to short video sites. Jenna Lane was still hoping to marry into wealth. She absolutely couldn't ruin her reputation outside. She covered her face and pleaded towards the inside of the gate. "Sebastian, Mr. Preston, I'll leave right away, but at least give me a piece of clothing." The security guard heard the commotion outside and went back to report to Sebastian. "Mr. Preston, Miss Lane is," he was cut off mid-sentence. Sebastian shot him a glare. "I don't want to hear any more news about her." His mood was visibly terrible, and the guard wasn't about to provoke him over a stranger who had turned his employer's house upside down. He quickly fell silent. Jenna Lane shouted hoarsely outside for a long time. Seeing Sebastian's utter heartlessness, she simply abandoned her pitiful facade and began to yell like a shrew. "Do you think I really care about you? If you weren't so easy to hook, would I even bother with you? You'll definitely regret this later. Men are all despicable. When she paid attention to you, you dreamed of keeping the flag at home flying while having colorful flags fluttering outside. Dream on, you keep saying Clara is your true love, but did that stop you from fooling around with other women outside? Don't act so devoted that you deceive yourself." She completely dropped the act. Passers-by had originally just stopped to watch the excitement, but hearing such informative words, they all lingered, curious about who could create such a big scene and make such a fool of themselves. Jenna Lane finally felt a sense of shame, her face flushed red. "What are you looking at? Careful, I'll call the police, it was a workday." Those who came to watch the spectacle at this time were either retired aunts and uncles or neighbors who came out to check on the commotion. Her bullying tactics didn't work on them. A passerby who was genuinely just passing by retorted decisively, "Do you think we want to look? You were a homewrecker, ruined someone else's marriage, and now you've been stripped and kicked out like this. Instead of going home quickly, you're still here disgracing yourself. Exactly, so little self-respect. People should have some shame. Anyone with a bit of shame would be too embarrassed to be seen after something like this. Shame. Useless shame again. This was the second time in half a day that Jenna Lane had been accused like this. She chose to vent her anger by cursing. Who said I'm a homewrecker? Did you see it with your own eyes? In a relationship, the one who isn't loved is the third party. The pedestrian arguing with her immediately laughed out loud. You still have the nerve to say that. If that man had you in his heart, would he let you wander the streets naked? The way you're dressed now is only suitable for the beach. Just a plaything, and she really thinks she's the main wife. The houses in this area are very expensive. Could it be that she failed to get money and ended up losing everything instead? These last few sentences were truly heart-piercing. The color completely drained from Jenna Lane's face, her expression a ghastly mix of green and white. She had lost her capital for arrogance and dejectedly tried to escape amidst the pointing fingers of the onlookers. Chapter 17, Mrs. Gable, who had recently divorced her unfaithful husband, felt a transferred sense of hatred. She stepped forward, blocked Jenna Lane's path, and berated her. You're so young, what couldn't you do? Why did you have to be a homewrecker and destroy someone else's family? Pa, Jezebel, Jenna Lane, seeing this stranger also cursing her, retorted defiantly. Ma'am, with your looks, you probably couldn't even be a Jezebel if you wanted to. Calling me a Jezebel, could it be because you couldn't keep your man's heart and got dumped? Pa, that's still better than you, barely clothed and kicked out of the house. Mrs. Gable was so angry she reached out to grab her. The scene instantly became chaotic. Mrs. Gable lived nearby and quickly gathered a group of her elderly friends to curse Jenna Lane as a shameless Jezebel. Other onlookers, seeing this, also called their friends to come and watch, and soon a large crowd gathered. The commotion was so loud it could be heard inside the villa, but Sebastian Preston remained oblivious, completely immersed in his own world, unwilling to come out. No matter how much Jenna Lane could rant and rave, she couldn't out-curse so many people. She cried in anger, trying to cover her face and escape from the crowd, and was almost taken advantage of by a lecherous man who tried to grope her in the chaos. Get lost, don't touch me. Seeing Sebastian's heartless turn, she knew she couldn't count on him and habitually turned her gaze to the other men present. Someone used to being a clinging vine would never think of standing up on their own. Jenna Lane decided that all the women watching were jealous of her and pinned her hopes on those few leering men. She dabbed her tears slightly, put on a tear-streaked, pitiful look, and shouted, Whoever is willing to help me, I'll sleep with him, I promise. There were already a few men in the crowd with ill intentions. Now, leering, they were about to take off their jackets and go over to help, but they were pulled back by their companions as soon as they took a step. You can stop and watch the fun, but do you really dare to take such a loose woman? She's so young, and she can use this as a bargaining chip. It must be because she doesn't care. She's just a trollop. That's right, maybe she was kicked out by the man she was with because she contracted some dirty disease. Could she be out to retaliate against society? We should call the police immediately. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone, whether watching the fun or wanting to take advantage, scattered far away. Even Mrs. Gable, who had been fighting with Jenna Lane earlier, quickly clapped her hands as if to brush off something dirty. Jenna Lane had often relied on her looks to gain benefits and had even been proud of it. Now, seeing others avoiding her like the plague, she finally realized this was a great humiliation. The iron gate in front of her remained tightly shut, showing no sign of opening. Jenna Lane had no choice but to hug herself with her arms and flee towards her residence in panic. On the way, she encountered a stray dog that barked furiously at her, scaring her so much that she fled in panic into the nearest alley. Woof! Seeing her run, the stray dog chased her even more enthusiastically. How could Jenna Lane dare to stop? She ran wildly, choosing narrow paths to avoid the stray dog. By the time she could no longer hear the barking behind her, she had no idea where she was. Her phone and outer clothes were left at the villa. Now, not only could she not call for help, she didn't even know the way back. The surroundings were deserted, with only a few dilapidated houses abandoned for years, not even visited by homeless people. She shrank her neck in fear, moving away from these dangerous places while shouting loudly, "Help, is anyone there?" Only the wind answered her. That night, Jenna Lane walked back entirely on her own 2 feet. She endured cold stares all along the way. If it hadn't been for a kind person calling the police after seeing her wandering around scantily clad late at night, she might have still been in the wilderness by the next morning. But these were merely the beginning of her retribution. The termination letter arrived at her home faster than she did. After that, she became quite infamous online, her reputation ruined, and she no longer had the face to see anyone. Sebastian Preston kept his word. After kicking Jenna Lane out of the house, he completely banished her from his mind. Then he sat alone on the sofa until dawn, until someone reported to him, Mr. Preston, a witness was found at the airport who said they saw Mrs. Preston boarding a plane. Sebastian was completely stunned. I checked the passenger lists for all flights that day. Her name wasn't on any of them. Then the witness might have been mistaken. It was probably someone who looks a lot like Mrs. Preston. This lead is probably useless. I'll go think of other ways. Wait, come back, Sebastian said. Not a single lead can be missed. Which flight did the witness see Clara board? It should be one heading to Norway. Book me a flight to Norway immediately. Sebastian recovered instantly. Then, without even bothering to change his clothes, he directly found his documents and went out. Chapter 18, he was burning with anxiety, but visas and plane tickets weren't things that could be arranged instantly. By the time he stood on Norwegian soil and managed to find Clara's whereabouts by contacting the embassy and local police, 3 days had passed. Sebastian Preston knocked on the apartment door, calling Clara as he tried to barge in, only to be stopped by the landlady, Lisa Johansson, who was tidying the room. She asked warily, "Who are you?" "I'm looking for Clara Archer," he said then, realizing she might be using an English name here, he quickly explained, "She's my wife. We had some misunderstandings, so I want to find her and clear things up." Lisa immediately waved her hand. "There's no one here by that name. Her name is Clara Archer, her first name is Clara." Lisa still said, "My tenant's name is Nova Archer, not the person you're talking about. You've got the wrong person." "Nova?" Sebastian was lost in confusion. "Are you sure you didn't misremember?" Lisa looked a little unhappy. "If you don't believe me, then forget it." Saying this, she was about to close the door. Sebastian, unwilling to let go of the lead, pulled out some cash and pressed, "Consider this a tip from me on her behalf. Can you tell me when exactly she moved in, and if she contacted anyone during that time?" Lisa accepted the tip, but still had nothing to tell him. Nothing. Sebastian had been experiencing such drastic ups and downs recently. His voice was laced with despair. He waited dejectedly for a long time until he confirmed that Clara had vanished as if into thin air, leaving not a single clue. Only then did he return to his country, utterly crestfallen. From that day on, he never went to the company again, instead locking himself up at home. His assistant, David Carter, called Sebastian to report on work. He interrupted indifferently, "Any news of Clara?" No, the missing person notices have been posted, but there's no news yet." All these things were done according to Sebastian's instructions. He was hanging on by this thread. Learning there was nothing, he neither got angry nor gave further instructions, but was unnervingly calm. "Okay, I understand." The call ended. David Carter broke out in a cold sweat in broad daylight. He quickly realized something was abnormal. In the following days, he called regularly to report the situation. As time went by, Sebastian's responses became increasingly brief. At first, it was complete phrases like "got it," "continue," but later it became just a grunt, "MMM." Alarm bells rang in David's mind. Fearing Sebastian had suffered a breakdown and was planning to shut himself in the villa until he died, he quickly contacted Sebastian's parents, Arthur Preston SR, and Alina Preston, to check on the situation. Arthur and Alina rushed over immediately upon learning their son was in trouble. The servants in the villa were still working according to the rules and procedures Clara had established before she left. Everything was so orderly, except for the absence of the master of the house. Alina Preston, extremely worried, stopped a servant who was cleaning and asked, "Where's my son? Why isn't he coming out?" Previously, when Sebastian knew they were coming, he would personally come out to greet them. But today, he didn't even intend to show himself. As for the calls they had made to him earlier, he hadn't answered at all. The servant pointed upstairs, her face looking quite grim. Mr. Preston has been locked in his bedroom and doesn't allow us to disturb him. Elena grew even more worried. So he hasn't come out at all? No. What about eating? Didn't you send food up? He refuses to eat or drink. There's nothing we can do. Anyone who goes up to knock on the door gets scolded. Arthur and Elena looked at each other, realizing that things were truly bad this time. Sebastian had been living in seclusion recently. The bedroom door wasn't locked from the inside. After knocking for a long time without a response, they simply pushed the door open and were stunned by the scene before them. The bedroom floor was covered with scattered sheets of paper, almost leaving no room to step. But Sebastian sat on the floor, his head bowed, still writing and drawing in a notebook. Despite the sun-drenched room, he looked rather gloomy and somber. Arthur Preston, Sr. bent down, picked up a few sheets of paper, and then found that they were all filled with the same words. Clara, I was wrong. Elena Preston instantly felt a chill run down her spine. She went to Sebastian's side, saw his bloodshot eyes and the trembling hand holding the pen, yet he was still repeatedly writing that sentence. Tears streamed down her face. What are you doing? Arthur Sr. snatched the pen and paper away. What's the use of writing these? We know everything. You. How could you do such a thing? He had always thought his son and Clara were in perfect harmony, never expecting they would reach the point of a broken relationship. Sebastian looked at his disappointed father, covered his face with his hands, and said, It's all my fault. I wronged Clara. I couldn't resist a moment's temptation and betrayed her. I will definitely finish writing these, and then let her know my remorse. Chapter 19. The papers on the floor were of the same material as the stationery Clara had left for him. He had moved her unused notebooks from the study to the bedroom and had been writing day and night for several days. Time lost all meaning at this moment. Elena Preston wept. Clara doesn't even want to see you. Even if you fill a room with apology letters, what's the use? You should say these words to her in person. Sebastian thought about it seriously and admitted his mother had a point. But he was already stuck in his own obsessive loop and couldn't get out. He raised his bloodshot eyes and insisted, She will know. As long as I finish writing all these, she will forgive me. Right, I have to be sincere. His voice was hoarse, but his tone was unusually fervent, his gaze unnervingly bright. Halfway through his sentence, he suddenly stood up, snatched the notebook back, and continued to write in it with his trembling hand, muttering to himself as he wrote. Clara, I was wrong. You will forgive me, right? As long as I fill all these notebooks, you will come back and forgive me. I'm sorry. Sebastian tirelessly repeated these words. Elena, looking at her son who seemed to have gone mad, pleaded helplessly, I'm begging you, Mom's begging you, stop writing these things without eating or drinking. If this goes on, you'll die. No matter how much she pleaded, Sebastian remained unmoved. She wanted to snatch the notebook, but she wasn't strong enough. Finally, Arthur Preston Sr., unable to watch any longer, came up with an idea. Don't you want to apologize to Clara? Then you have to let her know your attitude. How about this? There's a popular missing persons show recently. Go sign up and apologize to her personally in front of the camera and the audience. That show was very popular recently, and Sebastian had the aura of a young talent. There would be no shortage of attention. Perhaps Clara would indeed see his repentance from somewhere in the world. Sebastian immediately signed up himself and, by offering additional investment, secured a guest spot on the latest episode of the show. The production team, sensing the gossip potential in his marital crisis, wasted no time in increasing their promotional efforts, ultimately making the episode a hit before it even aired. Sebastian made no effort to hide his feelings, but for the sake of the show, he showered, shaved, and tidied himself up. Before leaving, he specifically put on the first tie Clara had bought for him after their marriage. At that time, their love was strong, and they would give each other a good morning kiss in an embrace before leaving for the day. But as time passed, such a beautiful past was ultimately destroyed by him. The audience seats in the studio were packed, all drawn by this major gossip event. The host, Miss Davies, noticed Sebastian's haggardness at a glance. In the initial questions, she tried to subtly probe the reasons for his marital breakdown, but unexpectedly, he was very direct and admitted the whole story from the beginning. I came here today actually to say sorry to my wife, Clara Archer. I broke my promise. When we were together, I said many sweet things to her, thinking we would grow old together, loving each other as we did at first, but I didn't expect I would be unable to resist temptation and make a mistake. Regarding our marital problems, the fault lies entirely with me. I was the one who cheated first, which is why she left. Today, I am sitting here just hoping she will give me a chance to seek her forgiveness." Sebastian spoke with genuine emotion, clearly expressing his apology to Clara, his voice nearly breaking with sobs by the end. This video, with the help of the production team's promotion, quickly spread across the internet and sparked discussions on major forums. Some netizens even traced Clara's previous paintings and the identity of the third party, Jenna Lane. But among so many different voices, there was no news related to Clara. Sebastian waited for several days, finally mustering his spirits to call his assistant, David Carter. "I remember there's a video section on the company's official website promotional page. Put my apology video up there, indefinitely, until there's news of Clara. Isn't this the same as trampling his own and the company's reputation into the ground?" David felt this was a bit too much, but he didn't dare to dissuade him, only asking, should it be posted on the headquarters site or the branch offices? "All of them," Sebastian said, as if it wasn't enough. "Aren't there ad slots on social media? Buy those up too, both domestic and international. I want headline-sized banners. If anyone has news of her, they can contact me. Oh, and put my private number up there too." An ordinary missing person notice caused a huge uproar due to Clara's identity and the story behind it. Sebastian thought that by doing this, Clara, even if she saw his haggard appearance on the show, would choose to call him for a proper talk. But she never contacted him, even though he kept his phone on 24 hours a day and turned the call notification volume to maximum. Several days later, the first call from an unknown contact came. The first sentence was, "Is the large reward for clues in the missing person notice real?" "Of course. All right, then give me 100,000 and I'll tell you where I saw her yesterday." "You saw her yesterday?" "Yeah, transfer the money quickly." Sebastian transferred the money without a second thought. Chapter 20, his sanity had long been crushed by boundless despair. Only after the person vaguely gave a domestic address did he hang up with a bitter smile. Unsurprisingly, this person was lying to him, but he didn't pursue it because he had no energy left. After that day, similar calls never stopped. Everyone claimed to have seen Clara in some place or another, then demanded varying amounts of money from Sebastian. He knew many of them were liars, but he still transferred money to them, just to grasp at the faintest glimmer of hope. The so-called rewards ultimately vanished like stones into the sea without causing even a ripple. But Sebastian didn't care at all. He was hanging on by this sliver of hope. Even if someone called saying they wanted to meet in person, he would still go to the appointment. Some women also sought him out under these circumstances, but they were all seductively dressed, with ulterior motives, bluntly telling him, "Mr. Preston, I have many girlfriends. If you're lonely, we can all keep you company." These were escorts, Chiron and GHI letter 1EC7P professional in the sex trade. Sebastian gave them short shrift with a single word: "Get lost." Consequently, eventually, even the liars stopped calling him. His phone would lie silently for a whole day, even quieter than he was. A month passed like this, and he finally collapsed at home. That afternoon, the servants, noticing Sebastian hadn't left his bedroom all day and hadn't even made a sound telling them not to bother him when they knocked, cautiously pushed the door open to take a look. They found him unconscious on the carpet, his condition critical, barely breathing. Only then did they call an ambulance and rush him to the hospital. Arthur Preston, SR, and a leaner Preston had aged many years in less than a month. They stood guard outside the emergency room, looking as if they might faint at any moment. To make matters worse, the doctor brought them bad news. The patient fainted due to dehydration and malnutrition. It's not life-threatening for now, but this is a sickness of the heart, and it's already very serious. If he doesn't receive treatment soon, he may have suicidal tendencies. Upon hearing this, a leaner Preston fainted on the spot. Arthur Preston, SR, also felt like fainting, but his wife and son were still waiting for him to take care of them. He could only force himself to stay strong, sign the papers, and pay the fees. Once their conditions stabilized, he recorded a new video in Sebastian's hospital room. In the video, He was white-haired and tear-streaked, only begging Clara, for the sake of their past affection, to come back and save Sebastian's life. Far across the ocean, Nova Archer knew nothing of this. She had left with the firm determination to sever all ties with the past, which included no longer seeking any information about Sebastian Preston or that company. In a forest in Norway, there was a small wooden cabin. During the harsh winter, most of the town's residents stayed home, enjoying the snow and resting. She, following local customs, made the same choice. Nova set up her easel by the window, painting the snow-covered winter scene while occasionally sipping her freshly ground hot coffee. A recently adopted kitten lay at her feet. The kitten was very affectionate and loved to be coddled, meowing as it jumped onto her lap, wanting to be petted. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Nova had no choice but to pick up the kitten and open the door. The visitor was her landlady, Lisa Johansson. She immediately stepped aside to let Lisa in. The little one insisted on being cuddled, so I had to bring him along. "It's all right, look how cute it is." Lisa showed Nova the bag she was carrying, explaining, "I baked some cookies at home and wanted to share some with you." "Thank you," Nova said, pouring Lisa a cup of coffee as well. The town had a simple and honest atmosphere, and winter life was rather dull. People often had nothing to do, so visiting neighbors was a common occurrence. Only a month had passed, but she and Lisa had already become good friends. During their conversation, Lisa told her something. "Nova, I saw a video on a social networking site. It was a man's apology video, and he also posted a missing person notice with a photo that looks a lot like you and his contact information. I was curious if you'd seen it." Actually, the person in the photo looked more and more like Nova, but Lisa remembered Nova's habit of rarely looking at social networking sites since she came here. Worried that there might be some hidden reasons, she asked in a more tactful way. Nova smiled faintly. "Is that so? That's quite a coincidence, but my appearance is actually very common where I come from, so it's not surprising to have a look-alike." This was a denial. Lisa looked at Nova's standard Eastern beauty face. How could she not understand her meaning? She just saw through it without exposing it, so she changed the subject. "Actually, it's not just that man. His parents also posted a video, saying he seems to be living a very miserable life, almost dying." Chapter 21, it had to be said, Sebastian Preston's performance in the video was quite compelling. Even foreigners who didn't understand the language could feel his despair through his expressions and the subtitles. "He won't," Nova said, cradling the kitten, her eyelashes lowered. "Everyone is an independent individual. No one has to live by depending on someone else. If he really chooses to give up on himself because of this, then there's nothing that can be done. One cannot sacrifice others to fulfill him." Her mind was made up. Even if Sebastian himself stood before her, crying his eyes out, she would never turn back. Lisa also smiled. "That's good. You can rest assured living here. There's been a heavy blizzard in the forest recently, and the roads to nearby cities are temporarily blocked. Even if someone mistakes you for the same person, they won't have a chance to contact them and cause a misunderstanding." A warmth spread through Nova's heart. She tasted a freshly baked cookie, her eyes welling up. "Thank you. The cookies are delicious, really." Time flowed like water, and soon it was Christmas Eve. This was a big day for the town's residents. Many young people working elsewhere would make a special trip back to reunite with their families. Nova lived alone in the wooden cabin. She went nearby to buy some flowers, then hung up the painting she had recently completed on the wall, considering these her preparations for the festival. Lisa, however, was very thoughtful and made a special trip to invite her. "By the way, Nova, my brother George is coming home tonight. It's too quiet with just the two of us siblings. Would you like to celebrate with us?" Since no one else would be there, Nova couldn't think of a reason to refuse. She carefully selected some flowers, then brought her kitten and a pot of hot coffee to Lisa's house as a guest. Lisa usually lived alone, and was very happy to have a female companion of similar age. Looking at the decorations scattered on the floor, she said embarrassedly, "My brother bought all these. He was supposed to put them up, but now it looks like we'll have to do it ourselves." The Christmas tree was almost 2 meters tall and looked particularly beautiful next to the fireplace, but putting the star on top was also hard work. Nova, however, said nonchalantly, "It's okay, just give me a chair or a stool. I can reach." She was a bit taller than Lisa. Standing on the stacked chair and stool, she could reach the top of the Christmas tree by tiptoeing. The two of them coordinated, and soon the Christmas tree was newly decorated, looking very festive. Lisa couldn't help but complain, "I really don't know what George is doing. First, he forgot to buy the string lights, and now he's been out for so long and still hasn't brought them back. He'd better not tell me he got lost." Nova glanced at the clock and said seriously, "Actually, it's still early. As long as he makes it back for the turkey, it'll be fine." "Oh God, my turkey!" Lisa suddenly realized the oven in the kitchen was still running and rushed into the kitchen. It looked like she would be busy for a while. Nova smiled helplessly and continued to hang various ornaments on the Christmas tree. When she heard the door open, she simply went over and opened it for her. Standing outside the door was a tall, handsome young man, George Johansson. He thought it was Lisa and cheerfully raised the string lights in his hand, saying, "I bought the string lights." His words stopped abruptly as he realized he was shouting at a strange Eastern lady. Their eyes met. Nova didn't think much of it and explained with a smile, "You must be George, right? I'm your sister Lisa's tenant. She's in the kitchen preparing the turkey and should be out soon." George's eyes sparkled as he looked at her, not reacting for a long moment until Lisa came out of the kitchen and called, "What are you still standing there foolishly for? Come and help me with the turkey." Only then did he seem to wake from a dream, like a large dog carrying the string lights into the kitchen. Then, at his sister's reminder, he came out and handed them to Nova. Though he was almost as tall as the Christmas tree when standing, he didn't even have the courage to look at Nova more than once, and a suspicious blush appeared on his fair skin. On Christmas night, the three of them sat around the Christmas tree, sharing turkey and Christmas cookies. During the gift exchange, George finally mustered the courage to look at Nova with his blue eyes. He asked with sincere emotion, "Will you be my girlfriend?" No rhetoric or tactics, just the simplest confession. Nova pushed the Christmas gifts she had prepared for him and his sister towards them. "I'm sorry, I think I'll still be leaving here in the future." "Where are you going?" "To a distant place." The end.